The prophecy of the Chosen One was one that had divided the opinions of both the Jedi and the Sith over thousands of years, with some claiming that the Chosen One would bring balance, and others stating that it will return to the light. The emergence of the powerful, Force-sensitive Anakin Skywalker placed all of those theories at the forefront of their mind, and throughout his ascendancy in the Jedi Order, the Sith realised that they could not let this opportunity pass by them. The secret Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious, grew closer to Anakin, shaking his faith in the Jedi Order, as well as their restrictive code that failed to accommodate for a secret marriage to Senator Padme Amidala of Naboo. Eventually falling to the dark side of the Force, the Sith's version of balance was established, with the purge on the Jedi turning Anakin into the ultimate Sith weapon of power. But for Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, the fall of the Jedi Order was only one step towards the prophecy being fulfilled, and he was proven correct by Anakin's redemption to the light, helped by his son Luke Skywalker. But what if Anakin Skywalker had never existed? How would this change the approach of the Sith? Would someone else be the protagonist for the prophecy of the Chosen One? As you're going to find out, the absence of Anakin could have shaken the Force to its core. On the realm of Mortis, the Force wielders known as the father and daughter were worried by the recent activity of the son. The dark side user had been delighted by his recent visions of the Force, and they realised that the prophecy that the galaxy had talked about for generations had merely been a myth, as the human that was supposed to be born was not on their radar, and at this rate, the dark side would take over, so they had to find a way to stop him. The father took the dagger of Mortis from the altar, and the son was immediately suspicious of their plan, and tried to take the dagger away from the father, but the daughter intervened as they battled in a duel of the Force. The father could not see an end to this violence, and in a move that shocked the children, he impaled himself with the dagger, eliminating the immortality from the son and daughter. The shockwave this caused in the Force was felt on the planet of Coruscant by the Jedi. Grandmaster Yoda had been meditating in his quarters when he jumped from his cushion and leapt backwards onto the window adorning his wall. Mace Windu is the first to rush to the aid of the Grand Master, and having both sensed a shift in the Force, they gathered the other council members for a meeting. Jedi Master Dooku and the Wookiee Tyvoka believed that the shock felt through the Force was a sign that the Sith were making a return, after almost a 1,000-year absence since the dissolution of the Brotherhood of Darkness. Windu is skeptical that the Sith would have returned without the detection of the Jedi, so Yoda decides that he should personally go to investigate the calling of the Force. Taking his personally modified starfighter out of its place in the temple's hangar, he swooped out of the comfort and stillness of the galactic city and accessed the airspace over the planet. The hexagonal wingtips folded inwards as he guided the ship into the hyperdrive docking ring, and Yoda directed the craft into world space, where the calling from the Force had become louder and louder. Out of nowhere, an octahedral monolith appeared in front of him, and he found himself being slowly drawn in by the gravitational force. The Grand Master is blinded by the brightest of lights, then later found himself perfectly on the grass floor, and the picturesque surroundings of Mortis. The floating form of the daughter hurried to the Jedi, and the legends he had heard in the temple about the realm were dwarfed by the reality, as she asked him to hurry to the top of one of the mountains to test if he was the Chosen One, seeking to prove that the son's visions had been flawed. To their horror, the dark side user was already waiting for them, having come up with a backup plan to possess the current Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Tenebrous. Whilst the children began to argue amongst themselves, Tenebrous charged at Yoda, fueled by the dark side and the sun, but he proved to be no match for Yoda, who used his agility to powerfully cut through his defences. As Yoda was about to listen to the last words of the Sith, the sun cackled with the false image he had cast to attack the Jedi, and Yoda realised that this meant the Sith was still in hiding, and ready to rise. The son fled the arena, whilst the daughter remarked that even though Yoda was not the Chosen One, he still held a big role in the galaxy, and ordered him to leave to destroy the dark side. The Grand Master ran back to his ship, and later waking up to hover in wild space, he felt like he had just been exposed to strong sensations in the Force, and returned to the temple. Placed under the attention of the Jedi healers, Yoda is strapped to a deprivation tank, bringing him closer to death and becoming one with the Force. The Grand Master could see visions and voices of Sith past and present, some of whom were not in the Jedi archives or holocrons, before remembering the face of his attacker on Mortis. Yoda is placed to rest on a nearby bed, and he knew that the Jedi needed to be careful, or they could fall by the sword of the Sith. As Yoda continued to rest, he saw visions of darkness in the future of the Jedi Order. A hooded figure was cutting a path through all of the Jedi Council members, and it was not Darth Tenebrous as he had expected, rather a younger figure, and in the background was another hooded Sith. Waking up to the Jedi around him, he ignored the concerns of the Council members and ambled to the Jedi archives and searched the database for the face at the front of his visions. Nothing appeared on their records, and walking to the great tree to clear his mind, he is joined by his Padawan Dooku. The Jedi Master offered to try and draw out the Sith in a dangerous undercover mission, and the Grand Master reluctantly agreed, claiming that there was little choice were the Jedi Order to survive. Dooku walked out of the Jedi Temple for what he hoped would not be the final time, equipped with a small comlink and a wealth of experience, and stepped into a Jedi starfighter, then flew to his home planet of Sereno. The Jedi Master quickly took hold of the reign as head of House Sereno, becoming the Count of the planet, and for a number of years he tried using his status to block any hyperspace lanes, in an attempt to attract the attention of the Sith. After fending off the attempted attack of Count Ramil, Dooku finally received the transmission he'd been waiting for, as a hooded figure hovered in holographic form above his desk. Claiming to be involved in the machinations of the Republic finances, he was intrigued by the wealth and knowledge possessed by Dooku, and they arranged to meet on the planet of Scipio. Unknown to the Sith Lord that had killed Tenebrous, the Jedi were listening to every word through a carefully hidden comlink in a briefcase, and when the Jedi Master landed his ship on one of the planet's docking platforms, the Jedi gathered in a council tower to listen to the banking clan's proposal. Revealing his name to be Higo Damas II, Dooku is offered a vast sum of Republic credits in return for helping to manipulate the upcoming elections on Coruscant. But as Dooku tried to turn around and leave, the Jedi hear the ominous sound of cracking from across the transmission, and they knew that the council member had been captured by members of the Sun Guard and the Sith Lord. Yoda rapidly organises the Order in preparation for multiple attacks, and leaving one group of Jedi in Coruscant to defend the temple and the Senate building, the Grand Master directs the Jedi to Scipio. Mace Windu helped to decipher the signal from Dooku's last message, and a group of mismatched Republic ships flew towards the tallest tower, which was in fact the main vault. The resident members of the banking clan proved to be futile in their resistance, and as Windu interrogates every one of them, he notices that Dooku had left a goblet on the floor, and takes it back to the largest ship for examination. ASP-4ISC crime scene analysis droid is on hand to examine the evidence left behind, determining that Dooku had been taken to the docks and away from the planet, so they decide to travel to Dooku's home planet. Yoda could sense a darkness from Dooku's castle, despite the serenity of their surroundings, and ignited his lightsaber in caution when Dooku stepped out of his palace doors. Dooku welcomed his master into his home, but as he turned around, he ignited his blade, fueled by the dark side the Plagueis had started to bring out of him. Yoda overcomes his initial reluctance to fight his Padawan, and deflecting every single one of his hits of frightening speed, Dooku is eventually forced to concede, with the other Jedi's blades pointing at his neck. The Jedi Master is placed in confinement at the Jedi Temple, and later awakening from a mind-clouding drug that the Jedi had injected him with, he recalls to the Jedi of the face of Darth Plagueis, and he would be soon making his mark on the Senate. The Jedi Council are relieved that Dooku had returned to the light, and Yoda knew that Dooku's plan to spy on the Sith was over, so they would need to react to the next moves of the Sith. In spite of this plan, it is Dooku and his close companion Sifo Dyas that are the most proactive, and boldly claim that they required an army of clone troopers in order to defend from whatever the Sith were planning. The Jedi are skeptical, not knowing how they could keep the plan a secret, and the time required to develop such an army, when they received a transmission from one of the candidates for the role of Supreme Chancellor, Infinis Valorum. The political candidate had just been recently attacked by a shadowy figure, and having managed to escape with the help of his guards, he asked the Jedi for their help. Yoda visits the home of Valorum in an attempt to track what he thought was Plagueis, but he soon sensed that something was hiding, despite his attempts to cloak his presence. Igniting his blade, the Grand Master turns around in time to meet a sparkling lightning attack, and out from a dark corner emerged the young Sith apprentice Palpatine. Yoda could sense the raw darkness in the apprentice of Plagueis, and waiting patiently for an attack, he was surprised by the ferocity of the young Sith. By using all of his experience and speed, Yoda managed to send the lightsaber of his opponent to the streets below. Palpatine looked annoyed at his failure to defeat the Jedi, but knew they would not kill him, and with the green blade at his throat, he acrobatically leapt onto a passing speeder. Yoda did not lose sight of Palpatine, and ordered Dooku to track him to the center building. The Jedi Master is well on his way in his speeder, but he is suddenly stopped by Palpatine rolling in front of him. The Sith saw the potential in Dooku that was yet unused, and offered to join him to defeat Plagueis and rule the galaxy. Dooku ignores the tempting offer, and igniting his blade, the Jedi Master and the Sith battled across the streets, until more Jedi begin to surround Palpatine. The Sith cackled as a set of force suppression cuffs are placed around his wrists, and the Jedi and the nearby civilians hear a massive explosion from close by, where the Senate building had been bombed. Shards of the domed roof landed on their heads and on the ground, and it had caused a chain reaction that destroyed the power grid of the galactic city. Leaving Dooku's Padawan Qui-Gon Jinn to complete the rest of Palpatine, Yoda leads the Jedi through to the ruins of the Senate building, and they are joined by Coruscant underworld police and local investigators. The groups are left confused by the absence of all of the senators, and beginning to search through the ruins, the crime scene droids identify a great expanse beneath them, and Windu cut through the ground with his lightsaber. The Jedi Council members' excavation uncovered a group of terrified senators trapped by a group of bounty hunting droids in cuffs, and the Jedi jumped down for a rescue. But touching upon the patterned floor, their presence had triggered a set of alarms, and more bombs began to detonate around them. The Jedi form a circle to create a large shield around the senators, and deflect the attack until the building's emergency power supply also cut off. Igniting their blades to provide light, Yoda quietly meditated in the middle of the senators, as Plagueis moved in a flash to kill several Jedi Masters. Suddenly, a set of small insect-like creatures appeared in front of the Grand Master, and illuminated his path, whilst the voice of the daughter began to echo in his mind. Yoda moved at immense speed around the darkened room, and finding his way to Plagueis, he impaled him in the back. Expecting to sense the darkness fading away, Yoda felt concerned that the dark side had grown stronger when he heard the voice of the daughter screaming in pain. All of the Jedi collapsed to the floor as the son had used the dagger of Mortis to fatally wound the daughter while she had been distracted. After ensuring the senators were in a safe and secure location, Yoda wasted no time in sorting the Jedi into squadrons to fly into wild space, hoping that they could somehow defeat the sun. Leading the group to where he had remembered, the sight of the monolith brought relief to the Jedi, and they allowed themselves to be drawn in by the forces of the planet. Unlike the bright and scenic landscape that greeted Yoda on his first visit, the planet was submerged in darkness, and with all of the council igniting their blades, the sun cackled at their feeble attempts to defeat him, and with the motion of his hand, he deactivated their blades. Killing every single one of the Jedi with another small motion of his hand, he suddenly found his torso pierced by the dagger of Mortis. The daughter had used her last bit of energy to throw the dagger into the dark side user, ensuring that neither the dark nor light would triumph, bringing balance to the Force. The neutrality in the galaxy would continue until new threats would threaten the balance brought by the Mortis gods. That is it for What If Anakin Skywalker Never Existed. If you enjoyed this What If, please like this video, turn on the notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.